Hi, I'm Rich Torrey. Welcome to another Level Up Cartooning. All you ever need to follow along with me is a pencil and paper. It doesn't get any easier than that, right? So last week we jumped into drawing some of the characters from this summer slate of cartoon movies by drawing Po Ping, the Kung Fu Panda. We're going to continue that theme this week by drawing Garfield for the new movie simply called The Garfield Movie. As you can see, Garfield has gone through many different looks, even as a comic strip character, and certainly the many movie versions of Garfield span a wide range. In this summer's movie version, they seem to be trying to stay truer to the comic strip version drawn by Garfield creator Jim Davis, with some slight variations. For instance, his legs and feet seem to be shorter or smaller in the CGI movie version. And speaking of CGI, I want to make sure you understand that as with last week's drawing of the Kung Fu Panda, this version of Garfield is created using computer or CGI animation techniques, not the traditional 2D animation. So there's a little extra challenge in trying to recreate his likeness using a line drawing. One of the ways you can help recreate Garfield's softer CGI fur is to not draw the final outline of his furry body in one smooth line. Take note of how I draw his fur in short, random strokes that vary in length and direction to add softness to that fur. Understand that this technique takes patience and practice, especially if you've never done this before. So go easy on yourself if it isn't perfect the first time. Anyway, before we get started, make sure you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button as it helps this channel to grow, and hit the bell so you never miss a lesson. All right, then let's draw the Garfield movie version of Garfield. We're going to draw the movie version of Garfield step by step, giving you the secret formula to be able to draw him again and again. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I normally use the character's head to figure out how big the entire character is. In this drawing, Garfield is slightly over 2 heads tall. In other words, however tall his furry Garfield head is, his entire lasagna-filled body is just over 2 of those tall, not counting his ears poking up. Okay, so let's draw the roadmap for our Garfield movie version of Garfield. So there's our roadmap for our movie version of Garfield. Now before we go on to step 2, I want to give you the layout of Garfield's body using simple shapes, for those of you who want a screen grab. Again, just something to help you envision how to lay out your drawing. So now we're on to step 2. In this step, we do what I call roughing out the features. I want to remind you that until the third and final step, you want to draw as light as possible. You'll see that I use guidelines to help you to know where to put Garfield's eyes, nose, weird muzzle, and mouth, among other things. We don't want those guidelines in the final drawing, so you want to draw them light enough to be able to erase them easily. All right, so let's rough out the features for our CGI version of Garfield. Okay, so there are the roughed out features for Garfield. So now with the roadmap done and the features roughed out, it's time for that final step. In step 3, we get to have fun. We get to draw the final details of our movie version of Garfield. We don't have to guess where to put things because we've already done all the hard work to figure that out. As I often say, I want you to be present. And what I mean by that is you don't want to just mindlessly retrace over the lines you've already drawn. As you're drawing that final line, you want to be thinking about how you might improve it, staying vigilant until the very end. And one last time, I want to remind you to take note of how I draw Garfield's fur, not as one continuous line, but rather using short strokes that vary in length and direction, while leaving space or breathing room between some of those lines. Okay, so let's draw the details for Garfield. And that's how you do it. There you have it, the star of this summer's Garfield movie, Garfield. So how do you think you did? Understand, if you've never drawn any version of Garfield before, you can't expect to have drawn him perfectly. You'll notice I don't spend time coloring Garfield during this video because I want my lesson to focus solely on the drawing process. Now you have the secret formula. The process for drawing our movie version of Garfield. And with that, you can draw him again and again. And by all means, color him when you're done. I promise each time you draw him, it'll be a little better and a little easier. I also promise the more you work with me, the better you're going to get at all of your cartoon characters. So I'd love to see your drawing of Garfield. If you can, take a picture and post it on either Facebook or Instagram. And don't forget to include the hashtag #LevelUpCartooning. So I hope you had as much fun as I did with this one. Remember to subscribe, and thanks for joining me. Until next week, keep drawing, my friends.